right, good people, welcome back to Full Circle with Joyce. We have just about another 22 minutes or so to go until the top of the hour. And within that time, we certainly want to talk to our final guest for the day. His name is Dr. Isaiah Nchagwa Chacha, and he's a veterinary surgeon, a zoonotic disease researcher, and an epidemiologist. Karibu. Hey, your titles are hizo mzito mzito. Huh? Unabeba ka business cards tatu. Well done. Anyway, karibu sana to the show. Now, zoonotic diseases are infectious diseases caused by bacteria, viruses, and parasites that spread between animals, usually vertebrates, and humans. Now, that's already a very scary thought, right? Explain this to us. How does that happen?
Okay. Now, so zoonotic diseases are diseases that are transmitted between animals and humans. Mm-hmm. So they could be cross transmission, either from one side to the other, but mostly it's from animals to humans.
Okay.
And the World Health Organization estimates that most of human diseases are zoonotic in nature. That means their origin was from animals. Mm. So let's find out how do humans get these diseases?
Yeah.
I'm sure most of you have heard of a disease called rabies.
Yes.
Rabies is mostly transmitted by animal bites,
right.
And mostly it will be a dog or a cat.
Okay. Oh, even cats. I never knew cats.
Yeah, even cats. And even in other countries, like in the US, bats. There are some kind of bats that transmit rabies. So once you're bitten by a rabid animal, chances are you'll get rabies. Mm. And rabies is one of the most fatal zoonotic disease, because once you manifest the signs of rabies, there's no treatment.
Oh no.
Yeah. So that's one way.
Are the cases of rabies, particularly here in Kenya, high?
Very high.
Really?
Yeah.
So we
very
have
high.
quite a number of people possibly even passing away from rabies.
Yeah, that's true. In every month, we estimate about the ones that are reported, about 2 people die every month.
Every month?
Rabies in the country.
That are reported?
Yeah.
So it could well be higher?
Yeah, it's higher.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, okay. So rabies is definitely, you call it a zoonotic disease.
Yes.
All right. Then there are other things like, and we're going to get to how the other types, right? So there's through bites.
Yes, there's bites.
Then there's things like Ebola and salmonellosis.
There's a bacteria called salmonella.
Yes, salmonella.
Yeah.
Which is usually found, is it chicken and fish?
Yeah, mostly you'll find it in eggs, meat, and milk. So if these products are not cooked well, or they're eaten raw, then there are very high chance that you'll get salmonella if they're contaminated with salmonella.
Right. So chicken and fish especially.
Even eggs, milk.
And eggs, if they're not, and milk, if they're not well.
Sometimes even vegetables, because salmonella is a common bacteria.
Hey, so we can just fall sick just like that?
Yeah.
Is that one treatable, salmonella?
Yeah, salmonella, fortunately, it's treatable.
Okay.
Yeah, but when it's discovered early, in the
but
early stages.
But when you say eggs, that means like eating, like, is it like
raw
sunny
eggs.
Side? When you know sunny side, when people
Yes.
just do fry on one side?
Yeah.
Is that good or bad?
That's bad.
Yeah. Okay, at least I don't like that runny egg thing. But if you like your eggs, what they call sunny side up, where you just fry one side and then the yolk is runny, that's not good.
They call it macho.
Macho, mayai macho.
Yeah.
Where? Okay, jichunge.
Although again now it had to be contaminated.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. It's not to say that all of them are. Yeah. And chicken, again, very important to cook chicken to its appropriate temperature.
Exactly.
Or fully cook it.
Yeah.
So let's now talk about like Kenyans in our own homes, right?
Yes.
A lot of us do have pets.
Yes.
Na kuna wengine wao hata hizo madogi ya moshi vizuri. That should be a point of concern, right? Because you don't know what sort of diseases they are carrying. But as a zoonotic researcher, veterinary surgeon, what's your advice then for people who have pets in their homes? Because we're seeing their children play with it, the dogs are running all over the living room. And I mean, I guess it's okay if you take care of your animal well.
Yeah. So especially for pets, and saying this, I'll emphasize this because schools are closed. So this is the moment when children play with pets a lot.
Yeah.
So there are 2 issues that should be considered here. The animal should be healthy, and it should also be hygienic. Mm-hmm. So by healthy, I mean there are those routine practices we do as veterinarians. Even if it's not sick, it should be vaccinated.
Right.
Against common diseases, there are, on average, most commonly vaccinate 5 diseases. There's rabies, as well, which is most important. It's even anchored in law because there's a Rabies Act.
Wow.
So
Because
you
of the
m-
fatality to
Yeah.
human life.
Yeah, it's Cap 366, if I remember well.
Okay.
Cap 360, sorry. So if you have a dog, you must every year vaccinate it against rabies.
Okay.
So
Every
that's-
year.
Yeah, that's in law. Then there are others like we call DHLP. And apart from vaccinations, we also do what we call parasite control.
Yeah.
You see, dogs may carry along ticks, fleas,
Fleas.
mites, and you're staying with them in the house. And some of these ticks, fleas, and mites can bite you and transmit some diseases to you. Then there's external parasite control. Now the external one, ticks, mites, and fleas, and there's
Yeah.
internal parasite control,
Okay.
like deworming.
Okay.
Now the second thing is hygiene.
Yeah.
The fact that you have a dog, you should also be careful to make it clean by washing. Because when they go out, they also collect dirt. If you take a bath daily, you should be mindful of your pet to wash it at least, let's say, once in 2 weeks, depending on
Once
the
in 2 weeks,
environment.
yeah.
And most of the time we advise, maybe in a month, you should take it to a professional, maybe a vet clinic, to be
Okay.
groomed properly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everything from the nails, the teeth, right. And so for those people who, hopefully you're taking good care of your pets, not just the vaccines, but also the hygiene. We don't want to see those, nasty looking pets around.
true,
It's
yeah.
just not cute. It defeats the purpose of having a pet when you look like you have a monster in the house. But for now, when kids are playing, as you've said, it's the holiday season. There's going to be a lot of kids out in the estates. Maybe we'll just start seeing a lot of random things. How does one identify if someone else's pet or just a stray pet is sick or unwell? And what are the signs that we should be mindful of? Like if you see an animal like that, just take your kids and yourselves away.
Okay. So mostly when an animal is sick, maybe for pets, one of the first sign that you may see rough haircut.
Rough?
Haircut, the
Okay.
hairs on the skin,
Yeah.
usually are slanted and shiny.
Okay.
But now they stand up.
They get
and
matted.
and they get matted.
Okay.
Then the other thing you'll notice is that the pet will be dull. When you come home in the evening, the pet will run to you and greet you and welcome you. But this time it's not, it's just lying down. The other things are like it will refuse to eat, or it will eat very little. And also you may notice some other things like dry nose. And then apart from that, there are other symptoms that now you may realize. Maybe tearing,
Right.
discharges from the nose, diarrhea, vomiting.
Okay.
So that tells you that that animal is not well.
All right, all right. And as we began, you told us about that some of the ways that the diseases are transmitted from animals to humans is through bites, right?
Yes.
But another way could be also what we talked about, like say salmonella is through the foods that we eat.
Yes.
So we've touched on chicken and fish and eggs and dairy,
Yes.
but looking at meat itself, it's very possible that inyama tunakula we could actually get sick from it if you're not sure where that meat is coming from, right? Things like there was that time where people sijui watu walikuwa wanatengeneza samosas with nyama ya punda na mapaka.
Yeah.
And you don't know where it's from. So this just picking up stray meat and not being careful about where your meat is from. A lot of people could get very, very sick from that.
Yeah. So with the meats, usually when a cow is slaughtered, we advise that the cow is normally slaughtered in a slaughterhouse or an abattoir for that matter. And after slaughter, it's inspected by usually veterinarians who do meat inspection. When they do inspection, they can identify, but the inspection is before and after slaughter.
Okay.
So they should they should examine the animal before slaughter, because by then they can notice that this animal is sick and therefore needs either to be treated or maybe to be given time to recover before it's slaughtered for human consumption. Then at post-mortem, that's after it's slaughtered, then there are those parts they look in the meat to see whether it's fit for human consumption.
Yeah.
For information, a lot of meat is condemned during inspection. Sometimes
After
even the
it's been
whole cow.
Really?
Yeah.
So you know what? I have to ask you, because the truth is, Daktari Isaiah, is it's Christmas is coming, right?
Yes, yes.
Watu watasafiri, watapewa kambuzi ama kondoo na nyanya ama
Yes,
babu,
yes.
ndawapea kondoo, wanaenda nyumbani wanachinja. They just kind of and cook it and eat it for themselves.
they
We
don't
don't have that knowledge about inspecting it. And here
Okay.
you are saying there are times where even a whole cow is discarded.
Yeah, that's true. Now, for information, even chicken is supposed to be inspected by a meat inspector. So in such a case where you are slaughtering at home, where you have to slaughter at home, each sub-county or even ward, as they are now recognized by the new constitution, has a meat inspector. So within your area, you should contact that meat inspector and organize with him or her, whether it will be done in the slaughterhouse, then transported to the event, or the person can come at home and do it there.
Right.
So as I said, even chicken is supposed to be inspected.
So to that point, in your opinion then, looking at, if you just drive around Nairobi,
Yes.
you'll see pork city, which one, beef city, which one, chicken city, what, kuku choma, beef. There's so much as far as these eateries are concerned.
Yes.
And I personally highly suspect if they get, you know, inspectors looking at their meat, I don't know, is there sort of some sort of regulation that these, everything from restaurants to vibanda are supposed to follow?
Yeah, there is, because most of them, I'm sure they follow the right channels, whereby the meat are slaughtered in the slaughterhouse, then transported. I'm sure you see trucks or
Yeah.
cans carrying meat.
Yeah.
Those are usually from the slaughterhouse. Then they're
Okay.
taken either to butcheries or eateries or restaurants. So from there, then there's there's a Meat Control Act, and then there's Public Health Act, Cap
Okay.
242, which now follows up when after they've left the slaughterhouse. So most of them, I'm sure they follow the right channels.
Okay.
There could be some others who may slaughter in the bush or may slaughter at home and try to sell. And most importantly, cases whereby an animal dies within your compound and you don't want to throw it away. You see that as a loss. So some scrupulous personnel may want to slaughter that
Sell you that
animal and
meat.
sell. And those are the kind of meat that brings problem. You've heard of cases where people died and a few hospitalized because they ate
Nyama choma.
nyama choma from a neighbor who sold to them,
Yeah.
or a cow died and they slaughtered. So those are
If
the
your
kind
animal
that we
dies,
discourage.
hivyo tu ikianguka akijameni msipike hiyo nyama. For real.
So an animal that dies before inspection should never be consumed.
Yeah.
Because one, you never know what caused it, and two, it's not inspected. And
Sure.
even if you cannot inspect because you did not see it before it died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So in the case that a human being contracts, you know, a disease from an animal,
Yes.
right? Maybe they just start having some weird symptoms and whatnot. Or umeenda huko Christmas umekula nyama and now you begin to suspect, hey, I feel like something was off with that meat. Which sort of doctor should they be running to first? Do you just go to a GP?
Well, you realize that most of these cases are encountered in the villages, in the countryside, and mostly those areas have no specialists. But most importantly, you should go to the nearest health center.
Okay.
Then the personnel there, the health officers there, will advise you accordingly, whether they'll move you to the next referral hospital or they send you to a specialist. So I'll not say there's a specific specialist for zoonotic diseases, but most importantly, you should go to the hospital. Then from there, you'll be advised further.
So here again, someone saying, loving the show, say hi to Dr. Isaiah. I wanted to ask, how does one then treat a zoonotic disease? So related to what we're saying, I guess at the hospital, they would have to be the ones to assess.
Yes. So for humans, it's at the hospital. And for cases of zoonotic disease that's still with animals, it's dealt by the vets. The other thing I want to emphasize is that because most of these diseases they originate from animals to humans. If we can control them at the animal level, then humans will not get them. For instance, vaccinations and maybe dewormings, vaccinations, we're able to control them at the human level.
So it's zoonotic diseases, to someone's question here, are viral or bacteria caused? Virus or bacteria caused?
Are viral. They can be viral, bacterial, fungal, parasitic. So long as it can be transmitted from animals to humans, that's
Yeah.
zoonotic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Ebola is another example of a zoonotic disease.
Yes.
Right? Hopefully it's not that prevalent here in Kenya, or do we just not know?
Well, of course, we've not had cases in Kenya, but the surveillance teams are always alert.
Alert, yeah. Someone is asking, is TB a zoonotic disease?
Yes, TB is a zoonotic disease.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Tuberculosis?
Yes, yes. There's a type of TB that affects cattle.
Wow.
TB mycobacterium that can also affect humans.
So that one, is that now through consumption of the meat that one would get it, or how does one get that?
Usually through contact and
Just simple contact?
yeah, but you must have an opening, a broken skin,
Yeah.
and then you contact a material, an infected material.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There's a very interesting question here about the Maasai culture.
Yes.
Right? We know that they take mursik. Sometimes they even drink the blood.
Yes.
Of the, I know they put some herbs and stuff into it, which they say helps to treat it. But even cultures like Ethiopia, where they eat raw meat, like raw cow meat or raw beef, raw goat meat. Does that then, do you see a lot of these zoonotic diseases then among certain communities in this country based on some of these traditions and cultural practices?
Yes, they are. Although it may not be direct that if you take raw meat, you'll get that disease. There are several other diseases also, by the way, other parasitic like echinococcus, anthrax. So it's not, the material, the food should be contaminated. But again, these communities, most of them being in remote areas, people could be getting these diseases, but they are either misdiagnosed or underdiagnosed.
Yeah.
So they are not recognized. So
Okay.
people may die due to these diseases, like brucellosis if you take raw milk. But
and where does mursik fit in all of this?
Well, with mursik, now most common zoonotic with milk is brucellosis.
Okay.
But I know with mursik, the procedures they take that milk, maybe in a way it eliminates the bacteria.
Okay.
But I also wanted to say that in some cultural beliefs, some of these diseases present in a very unique way. And some people start accusing witchcraft or accusing their neighbors who is a witch or something like
Na
that.
kumbe ni mtu ni mgonjwa tu.
Yeah. So
ya
the
nyama.
diseases may be there, but they're not detected.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there needs to be a lot of then education too and awareness,
Yes,
especially it sounds like in our rural
Settings.
communities and settings. All right. Someone else is asking, can these diseases be transmitted by mosquitoes like malaria is? I'm a farmer and I have chickens and so many cows for milk. And as you answer that question, maybe just again to re-emphasize some of the precautions, because many people will have a cow or two, if not a farm. Maziwa, wanakamua wenyewe, wanakunywa nyumbani.
Yes.
What would be some of the precautions that you would share to them as you talk about mosquitoes and if they at all can spread some of these zoonotic diseases?
So the definition of zoonosis is the diseases that are transmitted from vertebrate animals to humans. So those are vertebrate animals, mosquitoes and the insects, those are not vertebrates. So it will not be considered as zoonotic. But there's one particular disease called Rift Valley fever, which affects cattle, and it's transmitted by mosquito from one cow to another.
Okay.
And there's some research indicate that these mosquitoes can also transmit this disease to humans. So, but mostly the transmission is from eating infected meat with the Rift Valley fever by humans. There was a very big prevalence in Kenya around 2006, and so many people in the Asals died
Of Rift Valley fever infected meat.
Yes.
Is that the same then with things like bubonic plague and mad cow disease?
Yeah, mad cow disease the same, but mad cow disease we have not had cases recently. It was common in the UK and the US. I think the last reported cases were around 2003 in the US.
Yeah.
But bubonic plague is mostly transmitted by infected fleas.
Yeah.
fleas that are on the dogs, cats that stay with us in the house.
Wow.
So that's why I mentioned about parasites
Hygiene.
control and hygiene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Finally, a question here from one of our viewers. I guess when we can use this just to sum up this discussion, how can I prevent myself from these diseases at home? Best practices. So, for example, we're saying don't eat your eggs raw.
Yes.
At least, be careful about where those are coming from.
Yes.
Chicken, make sure it's well cooked.
Yes.
Same with fish.
Exactly.
Meat, watu wataanza kuchinja nyama, try and get it inspected before and after.
Yes.
Anything else you'd add?
So I think you mentioned all of them, but the other important thing is what I talked about, vaccination. Prevent before the condition comes.
Absolutely.
So if you have animals within you, there are those vaccines you can discuss with your vets. There are those vaccines that the animal should be given so that it doesn't get those diseases. And I'll also emphasize about rabies,
Yes.
especially for pets.
Yeah, and
Rabies
children.
is
I can't
extremely
imagine.
fatal.
Yeah.
Ensure, and the dogs can easily bite, so ensure that your dogs and cats are vaccinated against rabies
Every single year.
every year.
It's actually a law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact, there is a strategy the government is implementing whereby they want to eliminate rabies in Kenya
Okay.
by the year 2030
All right.
by vaccinating 70% of the dog population in 3 consecutive years.
Okay, that's
So
great.
it's something we are looking forward to achieve.
That's great. Dr. Isaiah Ngachwa Chacha, asante sana for joining me here on the show today. Great talking to you, and thank you to all of you for being a part of the show. Asanteni sana for all your feedback. Maze, it's been excellent. And let's do this again tomorrow. I'll be back here, of course, Thursday morning from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. But before I go, let me remind you that, of course, you can get 90% off, a discount of 90% when you shop at Aladdin of their clothing or groceries online. And as our audience here on Switch TV, you get an extra discount of 200 shillings when you use the coupon code SWH200. You can also, if you shop 1,000 bob and above, you can also choose a product labeled 1 bob, and that could even include a phone and other goodies. And so your goods will be delivered within 48 hours of request. So do take note of that should you wish to do so. With that said, asanteni sana to all of my guests and the crew. We'll see you soon. Have a blessed day. Ciao.